The story begins with shots of several dozen top hats inexplicably strewn about in a forest. Cutter, an engineer who designs stage magic, explains in voiceover the three parts of a magic trick: the pledge, where something ordinary is shown; the turn, where something extraordinary happens; and the prestige, where something shocking or impossible is revealed. We then see Robert Angier performing a trick called the Real Transported Man, where he appears to teleport from one end of the stage to another. However, he falls through a trapdoor into a water tank below and drowns. Alfred Borden, another magician, is arrested for his murder. The story then flashes back to several years earlier, when Angier and Borden were friends and assistants of a magician named Milton, under Cutter's mentorship. Angier's wife Julia was also Milton's on-stage assistant. During a water tank escape trick, Julia fails to free herself from the ropes and drowns. Angier blames Borden for using a riskier knot that he couldn't untie. Angier and Borden part ways and start their own solo careers as magicians. They become bitter rivals and sabotage each other's performances. Borden develops a trick called the Transported Man, where he appears to travel instantly between two wardrobes on opposite ends of the stage. Angier is obsessed with finding out how Borden does it, but can't figure it out. Angier hires a double, Gerald Root, to perform his own version of the trick, called the New Transported Man. The trick is more successful than Borden's, but Angier is unhappy because he has to hide under the stage while Root gets the applause. He also has to deal with Root's alcoholism and arrogance. Angier sends his assistant Olivia to spy on Borden and learn his secret. Olivia falls in love with Borden and becomes his assistant. She gives Angier a copy of Borden's diary, which is encoded with a keyword that only Borden knows. Angier threatens to kill Borden's engineer, Fallon, to get the keyword, which is TESLA. Angier travels to Colorado Springs to meet Nikola Tesla, a scientist and inventor who supposedly built a machine for Borden that can teleport objects. Tesla agrees to build a similar machine for Angier, but warns him that it may have unforeseen consequences. Meanwhile, Borden reads Angier's diary, which reveals that Olivia was a spy and that Angier sent him on a wild goose chase to Tesla. Tesla completes the machine for Angier, but it doesn't seem to work as expected. Instead of teleporting an object, it creates a duplicate of it at some distance away. Tesla tells Angier that he should destroy the machine, as he did with Borden's machine, which he claims never worked. He also tells him that he is being pursued by Thomas Edison, his rival in the current war of electric currents. Angier returns to London with the machine and resumes his act as the Real Transported Man. He uses the machine to create duplicates of himself every night, while killing off the original or the copy by dropping him into a water tank under the stage. He stores the water tanks in an abandoned theater, where he plans to dispose of them later. Borden becomes suspicious of Angier's trick and sneaks backstage during one of his shows. He sees Angier fall into the water tank and tries to save him, but fails. Cutter sees him there and accuses him of murder. Borden is arrested and sentenced to death by hanging. While in prison, Borden receives a visit from Lord Caldlow, who claims to be Angier's benefactor and offers to buy his tricks and secrets. Borden refuses, but Caldlow reveals himself to be Angier himself, who faked his death using one of his duplicates. He tells Borden that he has ruined his life and taken everything from him. Borden also receives a visit from Cutter, who tells him that he has taken care of his daughter, who was left orphaned after her mother Sarah committed suicide because of Borden's affair with Olivia. Cutter also gives Borden a copy of Angier's diary, which he found in his possession. Borden reads the diary, which reveals that Angier knew that Borden was using a double for his trick, and that he wanted to surpass him by using Tesla's machine. Borden realizes that the diary was intended for him to read, and that Angier wanted him to witness his death. He also realizes that Fallon, his engineer, was actually his twin brother, and that they had been living a double life as Borden, alternating between being the magician and the assistant. They had shared everything, including their love for Sarah and Olivia, but had kept their secret even from them. On the day of his execution, Borden entrusts Jess to Cutter and tells him to take her to a theater where Angier is storing his water tanks. He also gives him a note with an address and a name, Lord Caldlow. Cutter takes Jess to the theater, where they are met by Angier. Angier tells Cutter that he has won his war with Borden, but Cutter tells him that he has lost his humanity and his soul. Borden's twin brother, who had been posing as Fallon, arrives at the theater and shoots Angier. He reveals that he and his brother loved magic more than anything, and that they were willing to sacrifice everything for it. He also reveals that he was the one who loved Olivia, while his brother loved Sarah. He tells Angier that he doesn't know which one of them he hanged. Angier dies in front of his water tanks, while Borden reunites with Jess. Cutter looks on in shock and horror, as he finally understands the truth behind their tricks. The story ends with Cutter's voiceover saying that we want to be fooled by magic, even if we know it's not real.